Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Uh, we are from the ninth group. We will talk about the 21st century of curriculum, the curriculum of UNESCO. Uh, I will introduce you to the members of our group. The first one is me, Ahmad Faiz Sultan, and then Septi Triani, Anissa Rahmawati, and Masuri. The first material will be presented by Miss Anissa. To Miss Anissa, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Fawaid. Well, so our contents today, those are the first real-world problem solving and innovation, the second use of ACT for learning, and the third is self-regulation. Next. Well, the first real-world problem solving and innovation. Introduction to real-world problem solving and innovation. The 21st century has brought about irregular changes inconceivable in the world of work. In a global economy, workers need knowledge to create new products and services that can solve problems that are relevant to current conditions and meet the needs of the customers are the main driving force for economic growth and working in the 21st century. One of the key roles of education is to prepare people for engage effectively with challenges, problems, and questions in this moment. Next, the second is problem solving. Problem solving happens when the learners, the first, developing the solution to problems that are new for them. The second, completing a task they haven't done about how to do something. And the third is designing the complex products that fill a set of requirements. Okay. The third is real world problems. Real world problems are situations and needs that authentic and external academic context. The real world problems are the first experienced by a group or individual. The second, have solution for specific and reasonable participants apart from the educator. The third is have a specific and explicit context. And the fourth is if students use data to solve problems, they must using actual data. Okay, that's all from me and back to moderator.
Thank you, Miss Anissa, for the presentation. The next material will be presented by Miss Annie. To Miss Annie, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Fawaid. And the next innovation. Innovation requires action on ideas or solutions in the real world. Innovation is also beneficial for others who have value and meet the requirements that have been determined during teaching and learning activities. Innovation occurs in various lives: education, communication, and business. Okay, next. Use of ICT. Introduction to use of ICT for learning. Hardware for information and communication technology. 1 computer, 2 handphone, 3 graphing calculator, camcorder, e-reader, tablet, and notebook. For example, educators can show simulation that make content that is difficult to present easier for students to visualize. And software for information and communication technology, internet, multimedia development tools, social media, application engineering, and collaborative editing platform. Okay, next. Student use of ICT, the use of information and communication technology by educators. 1. Improve teaching significantly as a source and innovative learning media. Facilitate understanding of the material being studied. The use of information and communication technology by students. 1. To complete all or part of the learning activities. And 2. Obtain information in fast time. Jadi penggunaan TIK sebagai media pembelajaran dapat melalui pemanfaatan perangkat komputer sebagai media pembelajaran yang inovatif. Diharapkan dengan menggunakan media ini dapat merangsang pikiran, perasaan, minat, serta perhatian peserta didik sedemikian rupa sehingga proses pembelajaran dapat berjalan dengan baik. I think that enough. Go back to moderator.
Well, thank you, Miss Annie, for the presentation. So the next material will be presented by Miss Masuri. To Miss Masuri.
Thank you, moderator. And ICT required for knowledge construction. ICT is necessary for knowledge construction when it allows students to carry out knowledge construction activity that are impossible or even impractical without using ICT. Activities that require knowledge construction can also be carried without ICT. For example, students may be asked to find information about the beaks of different species of birds with different days and develop categories of different types of beaks. And the next slide, please. Designer of ICT products. Designer. Students are ICT product designer when they create ICT product that can be used by other people. Impact. When students act as designer, ICT support problem solving and innovation in their real world. And the next slide. Yes, I think that's all for me. Back to moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Masuri, for the presentation. So the next presentation will be explained by me. The 21st curriculum, the self-regulation. So I will compare the industry-based education, the education before our time. So in industry-based education, planting discipline and giving relatively easy tasks and lesson for young learners. Jadi di industry-based education, penanaman disiplin itu yang diutamakan. Penanaman disiplin, lalu masyarakat percaya bahwa materi yang diberikan itu harus bersifat universal. That kind of learning process is repeated over and over, and they are prepared to be capable and to become the motor of industry. Jadi maksud dari pendidikannya demikian itu, masyarakat berharap bahwa murid yang sudah lulus nantinya akan langsung bisa bekerja sebagai motor dari industri. Jadi mereka dikasih task yang relatively easy and it is repeated over and over again. Jadi mereka hafal betul dengan pelajarannya. Society believe that lesson given must be universal and can be effective for everyone, so everyone gets the same thing. Jadi materi yang diberikan kepada siswa itu sama satu sama lainnya dan memang dibentuk seperti itu agar semuanya sama rata. Basically, they are created to be exactly like everyone else, disregarding the differences. Jadi kalau ada yang tidak sama, nanti disamakan. Kalau ada yang kurang, harus ditambahi Jadi mereka benar-benar istilahnya dikotakkan. The role of learners is passive. They are just given the same material and they have to understand that material while the teacher gives the assessment. Jadi perannya siswa itu cuman menerima materi, dan tugas guru hanyalah menilai baik atau buruk. Kalau kurang ya nanti ada kekurangannya ditambahi sampai dia itu benar-benar paham dengan materi tersebut. This model is not relevant anymore as the world moves at a very fast rate at this point. So the next, learning in the 21st century. In this era demands workers to be independent, to have initiative, and to solve problems. Jadi di era ini industrinya atau dunia kerja mengharapkan bahwa karyawan itu pekerja itu diharapkan untuk bisa mandiri, inisiatif, tidak cuman menerima perintah lalu menjalankan. Kalau salah dibenerin, lanjut lagi menerima perintah lalu menjalankan lagi, dan terus seperti itu. Jadi di abad ini pekerja harus punya inisiatif sendiri. Mereka juga harus bisa memecahkan masalah sendiri. Tidak harus mereka itu laporan dulu ke atasannya. Jadi untuk mendapatkan worker yang seperti ini, maka kurikulumnya dibikin seperti yang sekarang. Jadi murid harus benar-benar taking initiative to be learning. In this style of learning, both learners and teachers both have active roles. Jadi apa tugasnya siswa? Tugasnya siswa adalah mendiskusikan dengan gurunya gimana sih pelajaran kita itu semester misal 1 semester ke depan, dibuat roadmap-nya. Harus ada perjanjian antara guru dan siswa. By the independence of the learner, supervising must be decreasing. Jadi kalau muridnya itu sudah sadar akan belajar, guru itu akan lebih mudah tugasnya dalam mengawasi. Learning process is dominated by inquiry, which they make agreement on how they spend their time in the class. Jadi yang seperti saya sebutkan tadi, harus ada perjanjian antara guru dengan siswa. Kita mau ngapain sih semester ke depan ini? Bagaimana sih model belajar kita? Berapa lama kita harus dalam kelas? Berapa kali kita pertemuannya? Dan materi yang diberikan tidak boleh seperti industri base tadi. Tidak boleh hanya guru yang memberikan, tapi guru harus memastikan gimana caranya murid itu bisa independen dalam belajar. Muncul kesadaran diri gimana murid itu benar-benar punya keinginan untuk belajar sendiri. Tidak harus dituntun. Tugas guru hanya memberikan kritik yang membangun untuk siswa. Characteristic of the 21st century learning process. The first one, long-term activity. This style of learning takes time because the learners have to make planning and they also need to try a number of concepts to better their understanding. Jadi ciri-cirinya dari kurikulum abad 21 yakni ini butuh waktu yang lama untuk menjalankan. Jadi murid butuh mencoba metode yang baru. Kalau tidak cocok, mereka harus mencari metode yang lainnya. Dan harus ada feedback dari gurunya. Gitu. Jadi murid mengerjakan sesuatu, mendapatkan feedback, memperbaiki lagi, mendapatkan feedback. Kalau tidak cocok, mereka harus mencoba strategi baru untuk belajar. Jadi waktunya benar-benar agak lama karena tidak didikte muridnya. Muridnya harus sadar karena setiap orang mempunyai gaya belajar yang berbeda-beda. Yang kedua, planning on work. Planning is essential for the learning process. By having a concrete plan, they can spend their time more effectively. Not to mention, they can allocate their time to their own timetable. By doing so, independent learner can decide on how they learn at that time, deciding on when they learn, deciding on who and whom they have to interact to learn something, and deciding where they learn something. The third one is the opportunity to revise work based on the feedback. Learners have the opportunity to revise their work based on the assessment given by the teacher or even by themselves. Jadi guru harus memberikan feedback atau murid juga kalau bisa sadar akan gimana kerjaan mereka. Jadi mereka bisa mengoreksi diri sendiri dan guru juga membantu memberikan feedback. The effective feedback should be more than just a compliment. Jadi nggak cuma feedback itu bagus, sudah bagus teruskan, nggak cuma gitu. Jadi an effective feedback or critic should be specifically telling them what they did well. Jadi memberitahu mereka apa yang mereka itu lakukan dengan baik. Teachers should also offer their supervision, harus menawarkan supervisi atau pengawasan to develop their learning. Harus melakukan memberikan tawaran untuk menjadi pengawas untuk kemajuan belajar mereka. Directly correlating with the purpose of learning and the criteria of success. Jadi di yang pertama tadi, it takes time to decide the purpose of the study and the criteria of success of the study. The critic should be directly correlating with the purpose of learning that has been set in the first agreement, and then critics should be helping learners to be more conscious on their development in learning. So the criticism should make the students more conscious. Jadi mereka lebih sadar untuk pentingnya belajar ini, bukan sekedar disuruh lalu belajar, Harus menanamkan gimana kritiknya tadi itu menanamkan mental siswa itu benar-benar butuh untuk belajar. Jadi mereka itu sebagai pelajar yang abadi. Jadi mereka itu tidak stop belajar ketika mereka lulus sekolah. And then effective feedback should be directing learners to reflect and to plan their moves. Jadi kritik yang baik, yang efektif harus mendirect, harus mengarahkan students to reflect, harus membuat mereka itu merefleksikan diri, harus melihat bisa aku di mana, bagusku di mana. And then after that, it should make them, harus membuat student tadi itu lebih baik dalam merencanakan rencana selanjutnya. Oke. Thank you very much. I think that's all from our group. Also, the last I say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.